presenting The Owl and the Fox by Anonymous. There was an old fox that lived under the rocks at the foot of a huge old tree. And of all the foxes that ever did live, there was none so bad as he. His step was soft with his padded feet, but his claws were sharp beneath, and sharper his eyes, and sharper his ears, and sharper his terrible teeth. And the dreariest place you ever did see was this old fox's den. It was strewn with the down of the tender chick and the quills of the mother hen. For he dragged them in this dismal den and piled their bones together, and killed them dead, and sucked their blood, and ate their flesh, and picked their bones, and warmed his bed with the feathers. But while the old fox lived under the rocks, as wicked as he could be, an old owl built his nest and up at the top of the tree. This owl was named Hooty, and often at night, when loudly the night wind blew, he waked the old fox in his hole in the rocks with a wit-too, woo-hoo. Then the owl would laugh at the top of the tree to hear him wake and growl, for he hated the fox that lived down in the rocks, and the fox, he hated the owl. Now, the owl had a little son, Billy by name, and a beautiful owlet was he. His eyes were as big as the lamps of a gig, and his bill was a wonder to see. He never cried when his head was combed, nor screamed when they wiped his nose, or washed his face and got soap in his eyes, and he never tore his clothes. When Hooty was going, he said to his son, "Now, Bill, I command and beseech you, don't leave this nest. 'Tis my earnest request, for the old fox may catch you and eat you. He is watching below to catch you, I know, so don't try to fly till I teach you." But poor little Billy, he was so very silly, he climbed out on the bough, and the old fox laughed with a ha 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 and thought he'd got him now. At last, he heard a flapping of wings, and Hooty lit on a tree. His screams were wild when he sought for his child, and Billy, nowhere was he. So he sought him down in this empty nest and covered his face with his wing. And big sobs came from his speckled breast, and he cried like anything. He screamed so loud in his wrath and woe that he shook the huge old tree. And the old fox heard as he lay below, and not a sign of sorrow did show, but laughed, a he. Then the owl stopped crying and wiped his eyes and shook his fist at the fox and said, "You villain, you stole my child and carried him under the rocks. You've eaten my Billy, my pretty firstborn, without an equal for beauty. But I'll tell Jack, with his hounds and his horns, as sure as my name is Hooty, and the bow-wow dogs, and the toot-toot horns, and the galloping horse, and Jack will race you and chase you wherever they chase you, and thunder along your track. And I will think of my Billy that's dead, as I flap along the trail, to see the dogs bite off your cool head, and Jack ride away with your tail." So, in the morning, out came Jack, with his spurs on his heels and his whip to crack. And he saddled his horse and called to his pack and started off on the fox's track. Away he went with the clattering sound of the swift-footed horse on the frosty ground, and the horns that rang with a merry sound, and the deep-mouthed bay of the rapid hound. With a toot-toot-too and a toot-toot-too, away they went. They made such a noise as on they flew that the old fox didn't know what to do. For the fox, he listened and heard them come, that he dropped the duck he was carrying home, and ran through the wood as fast as he could, and made for the den that he started from. The fox went skimming along the ground, but nearer he heard the bay of the hound. And on he went like the rustling wind, but the dogs came closer and closer behind, till his legs were tired and his feet were sore, and he found he couldn't run anymore. So he crept in a hole that he chanced to see that was down at the foot of a hollow tree. And just as he thought he had ended the chase and was safe from the dogs in his hiding place, he heard old Hooty, as down he flew and lit on a tree with a wit-too, woo-hoo. And the dogs came barking glad to see that the fox was hid in the hollow tree. For there the fox was crouching beneath, arching his back and showing his teeth. His eyes were like sparks shining back in the dark, his tongue hanging out and gasping for breath, and froth on his lips, but game to the death. He fought and fought the dogs till he died. He bit Growler's foot and cut Tree's side. And they tore him in pieces. No mercy he begs, but some of the dogs went home on 3 legs. Then Jack came to cut off his long gray tail and carried it home to hang on a nail. For that was the fox, so Jack would tell, that ran so far and fought so well. And Hooty looked down from the branch overhead where the lifeless, tailless fox lay dead, and laughed aloud as on he flew. A-wa-too-woo-hoo, a-wa-too